Let's start our first news with a major update surrounding Nassourdine Imavov and the middleweight title picture. In a new interview with Jaden Cable, Imavov revealed that the UFC has apparently told him to wait for the winner of the upcoming fight between Sean Strickland and Khamzat. According to Imavov, the promotion has made it clear that his next fight will be for the UFC middleweight championship. That means he is already preparing himself for a title opportunity, and he appears to have no intention of rushing into another fight before that matchup is finalized. Imavov explained that before the Strickland versus Khamzat fight, he wanted to stay active and even considered fighting du Plessis. However, the UFC reportedly had a different plan for him. The promotion told him that he could only fight for the belt after the upcoming middleweight showdown. Imavov made his position very clear, saying that after Strickland and Khamzat settle their business, he expects to face the winner for the championship. For now, Imavov says he is staying patient and waiting for the right opportunity. He believes patience is key, especially when a title shot is potentially just one fight away. This puts Imavov in a very interesting position. Instead of taking another risky matchup and potentially delaying his championship opportunity, he is choosing to wait and prepare for what could be the biggest fight of his career. If the UFC follows through with this plan, the winner of Strickland versus Khamzat could have Imavov waiting for them next, with the middleweight title on the line. The situation is now developing into a potentially huge title matchup for the division. Move on to another news, as Dana White has delivered a strong statement about the legacy of Conor and why he believes the UFC will never see another superstar quite like him. Speaking on the Pivot podcast, Dana White explained that Conor was something truly unique in the world of combat sports. According to the UFC president, the impact Conor had went far beyond the organization itself and helped transform MMA into a global mainstream phenomenon. White described Conor as a unicorn, suggesting that the combination of his personality, timing, talent, confidence, and ability to generate attention was something that may never be replicated. When people ask Dana White who the next Conor will be, his answer is very clear. He believes there will never be another fighter who can recreate exactly what Conor accomplished. White pointed out that Conor's rise came at a very specific time and under very specific circumstances. The Irish superstar managed to capture the attention of casual fans, hardcore MMA followers, and even people who had never watched the sport before. His ability to promote fights, create massive anticipation, and turn himself into a global celebrity made him one of the most recognizable athletes in combat sports history. However, Dana White also made an important distinction. He believes there will be another superstar in the UFC. The sport will continue producing fighters who become huge names and attract massive audiences. But according to White, that fighter will have their own story and their own path to greatness. There may be another superstar who reaches incredible levels of fame, but there will only ever be one Conor. And that is exactly why Dana White believes his impact on the UFC and the wider sports world will remain completely unmatched. Move on to another news, as Shawn O'Malley opened up about his emotional connection to Conor and admitted that one of the UFC superstar's injuries almost brought him to tears. During a recent episode of Impulsive, Shawn O'Malley reflected on the impact Conor had on his own journey as a fan and aspiring fighter. While Conor undoubtedly changed the UFC forever and helped bring millions of new fans into the sport, O'Malley revealed that he was one of those fans who became deeply invested in MMA because of the Irish superstar. O'Malley explained that, although he was already training and dreaming about becoming a professional fighter, he wasn't someone who regularly watched the UFC. That changed when he started following Conor's rise. He remembered watching Conor's early fights and becoming completely invested in his journey. From the confidence and personality to the famous left hand, O'Malley said he believed in everything Conor represented. For O'Malley, Conor wasn't just another fighter. He represented self-belief, confidence, and the idea that someone could completely change their life by believing in themselves. That emotional connection became even stronger when Conor suffered a serious injury during his fight against Max Holloway. O'Malley admitted that he almost cried when he saw what happened. He explained that he had been incredibly excited to see Conor return, and believed in the fighter he had watched rise from the beginning. O'Malley was also confident in Conor's abilities, especially his signature left hand, and the mentality that made him such a massive superstar. Interestingly, O'Malley also admitted that he was slightly favoring Max going into the fight. However, he still believed Conor would perform well, especially during the opening minutes. In his mind, Conor had the ability to come out looking sharp and remind everyone why he became such a phenomenon. And when it comes to Conor potentially fighting again, O'Malley believes the reaction from fans could be completely unpredictable. He suggested that fans might initially say they don't want to see Conor fight again, but everything could change the moment fight week arrives. According to O'Malley, once the press conferences begin, the excitement could quickly return. Fans would see Conor standing in front of them again, the energy would build, and suddenly everyone could start celebrating the return of one of the biggest stars the UFC has ever produced. Move on to another news, as Tom Aspinall has spoken out about one of the most controversial topics in MMA, fighter pay, and he believes athletes who put their health on the line should be receiving the maximum amount possible. In a new interview with Jamie Lang, Tom discussed his partnership with Eddie Hearn and explained why increasing awareness around fighter pay has become an important part of his broader career strategy. According to Tom, athletes are always looking for better financial opportunities, and he believes that is completely understandable. Fighters are taking real risks every time they step into the cage. They train for months, endure brutal physical preparation, and put their bodies through extreme punishment, all while knowing that one injury could potentially change their careers. Because of that, Tom believes fighters should be compensated as highly as possible. He also made it clear that this isn't just about his own situation. Tom said he wants to see everyone in the sport earning more, not only the biggest stars or championship-level fighters. Interestingly, Tom admitted that money hasn't always been his biggest motivation. There have been plenty of moments throughout his career when financial considerations weren't even part of the equation. His primary focus was simply competing, improving, and becoming the best fighter he could possibly be. That passion for fighting is something that has driven him throughout his career. However, Tom also recognizes the difficult position many UFC fighters find themselves in. For fighters who want to compete against the best in the world, the UFC is essentially the destination. That gives the promotion enormous influence over the sport and creates a situation where fighters have limited options if their goal is to reach the highest level of MMA. Tom's comments suggest that he wants to see that relationship evolve. His message is simple. If fighters are risking their health and potentially shortening their careers to entertain millions of fans, they deserve to be rewarded accordingly. His partnership with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Talent appears to be part of that bigger picture, with the goal of helping fighters maximize their earning potential and bringing more attention to the ongoing conversation about athlete compensation. For Tom, this isn't simply about making more money for himself. He believes the entire fighter community deserves better opportunities, better financial security, and greater recognition for the risks they take every time they compete. Move on to another news, as multiple fights are reportedly being lined up for UFC 331, while another exciting matchup has also emerged for UFC Sacramento. Starting with the September 19th UFC 331 card, Ryan Gandra is reportedly set to take on Azier Diaz. Gandra has been on an impressive run since joining the UFC through the Contender Series. He is currently 2-0 inside the promotion, and his most recent appearance came at UFC 329, where he stopped Zach Reese with a first-round TKO. What makes Gandra's recent run even more impressive is the fact that his Contender Series victory, along with both of his UFC wins, have all come by first-round stoppage. That means he has been extremely effective at finishing his opponents early. Standing across from him will reportedly be Azier Diaz. His journey to the UFC was a little more complicated. Diaz initially failed to earn a contract on the Contender Series in 2022 after facing Joe Piper. However, he eventually made his way into the promotion and has since gone 1-2 in the UFC. Diaz's most recent fight came against Iba Gautier at UFC 328, where he suffered a loss. Now, he will have the opportunity to turn things around against a dangerous opponent in Gandra. But that's not the only fight reportedly being worked on for UFC 331. Another matchup reportedly in the works is Eduardo Moura versus Casey O'Neill. Moura joined the UFC through the Contender Series in 2022 and has since posted a 3-2 record inside the promotion. However, one statistic has caught attention. Moura has reportedly missed weight in 3 of her 5 UFC appearances, making the weight-cutting situation something to watch closely during fight week. Her opponent, Casey O'Neill, currently holds a 6-2 UFC record. She was last seen in action against Gabriela Fernandez in March, where she secured an impressive first-round TKO victory. Meanwhile, another fight is reportedly coming together for UFC Sacramento on August 22nd. Chris Padilla is set to face Naz Hakaroust. Padilla currently has a 4-0 record with 1 draw in the UFC. His last fight against Markel Medeiros ended in a decision draw, although Padilla notably came in 3 pounds over the lightweight limit. 3 of his 4 UFC victories have come by stoppage, while Hakaroust has been competing in the UFC since 2017 and owns a 10-5 record in the promotion. He recently suffered a first-round TKO loss to the rising Quillen Salt, ending a previous 5-fight winning streak. With several fights reportedly coming together, both UFC 331 and UFC Sacramento are shaping up to have some very interesting matchups. Move on to another news, as Sean O'Malley has made a confident statement about his potential trilogy fight with Merab, claiming that he believes he can beat the former champion if he enters the fight completely healthy. O'Malley has already shared the cage with Merab twice, and the possibility of a third fight remains an interesting storyline in the bantamweight division. While O'Malley admits that the trilogy doesn't make sense right now, he believes that eventually, the timing will be perfect. According to O'Malley, he knows he can beat Merab. He believes that if he gets another opportunity and is able to compete at his absolute best physically, the outcome could be completely different. However, O'Malley also showed respect for what Merab brings to the cage. He acknowledged that Merab has an incredible gas tank and constantly maintains a relentless pace. His ability to keep moving, pressure his opponents, and never seem to slow down is what makes him one of the best bantamweights in the world. Despite recognizing those strengths, O'Malley still considers the matchup winnable. He explained that he would love to get the trilogy fight because beating Merab would also allow him to complete an impressive personal goal. If O'Malley eventually defeats him, he would have beaten every opponent he has faced throughout his career. For now, though, O'Malley understands that the fight may need to wait. He is interested in seeing how the division develops, while Merab also has his own plans and potential matchups ahead. Still, O'Malley's confidence has not disappeared. He believes that with the right preparation, good health, and another opportunity, he can finally solve the Merab puzzle. The rivalry may not continue immediately, but O'Malley clearly believes that the trilogy is not over. If the two eventually meet for a third time, O'Malley is convinced that he will have the tools to turn the tables and finally secure the victory he has been chasing. Move on to another news, as Tom Aspinall has clarified the role his father continues to play in his career, while also explaining how Eddie Hearn and Matchroom have joined his team. Despite his new partnership with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, Tom made it clear that his father is still his main manager. According to Tom, the decision to bring Eddie into his team was about expanding his support system and creating more opportunities outside the cage. His father continues to handle the management side of his career, while Eddie and his team provide advice and help with commercial opportunities. Tom explained that Eddie and his father are now working together, with the wider Matchroom team also involved in helping him maximize his career. The relationship appears to be based on a shared goal. Tom wants to make sure he receives the value he believes he deserves as one of the top fighters in the sport. He said that Eddie genuinely cares about fighters getting paid what they're worth, and that is something Tom strongly supports. For him, the goal is to maximize every opportunity available while he is still competing at the highest level. This partnership could potentially help Tom in several different areas, from commercial deals and sponsorships to broader career planning. But despite adding experienced professionals to his team, Tom has made it clear that his father remains at the center of his management structure. Rather than replacing his father, Eddie Hearn is essentially becoming another important piece of the puzzle. Tom believes that having his father and the Matchroom team working together gives him a stronger support system as he continues building his career. The heavyweight star is now focused on maximizing his time as an active fighter, both inside and outside the cage. With his father continuing as his main manager and Eddie Hearn providing additional guidance and commercial expertise, Tom appears determined to make the most of every opportunity available to him during the prime years of his career.